Well, welcome SqueezeMobi community to this great, fantastic session. One more time, I am super pumped. I'm not even sitting down. I just can't sit down when I do these webinars, especially right after. This is basically the first webinar after the wrap up of Mobile Treasure Island and a part of your 3-series bonus coachings. I am extremely excited. We switched it up a little bit. Why? Because as I mentioned already in the chat box, we got something simmering and it's cooking. We've been cooking it for a little bit and we really want to blow it away with content for you on that Flipping Mobile Sites webinar. So we are going into the mystery session first and saving the best for just a little bit. So I hope that is okay with everyone. And if it is, then I want to get a big yes and we will get started with how you can outsource your mobile outsourcing. So not just learning how to outsource, but taking it a step further. Going and leveraging those inside resources so you can build a team full of rock stars to take your mobile consulting business so you can dominate your local area. All right, so if everybody is ready, and I want to get another big yes from everybody, then we're going to jump right into it. We're going to go right into a big session. So, first question that I have for everyone. Who has at least one employee here? Who in the house has one employee? And give me either a yes or a not yet. Give me a yes or a not yet. All right. Most people are saying not yet. I see about 90% of people saying not yet, which gets me excited because you are going to learn some strategies here, and we're going to actually walk you through it. I'm going to take you to onlinejobs.ph. I'm going to take you to the different resources. I'm going to take you through our templates, through our internal processes so you can understand it from A to Z. Not just theoretical, but we're going to go through different questions, we're going to go through different processes, and you're going to be able to get off this webinar and apply it so you can build your team that's actually going to be adding value and adding to your bottom line. Oh, second question. Who freaking loves the Philippines? Because I'm just in love with the Philippines. And whether it's Abigail, Henson, Vince, Javar, I just love our team. and I see a lot of yeses. Michael, you're a bad man. He says the woman. Well, Michael, I have another question for you. And I'm going to talk about the biggest limiting belief because I see this constantly. And I want to warn you guys. I want to warn everybody on this webinar, on this training session, you're going to get disappointed. Whether you like it or not, if you take someone on, it is never going to be perfect. Two minds just don't think alike. And unfortunately, a lot of times, and who here has been disappointed? And it doesn't have to be by necessarily someone you hired from the Philippines, but maybe someone that was working for you at a previous job. Who here has been disappointed? I know I have. And it sucks. It sucks, especially when you hold that person up to a high standard. And unfortunately, that often prevents us from then taking a risk in the future. And we don't want to take that risk. We get scared. But I want to tell you that a lot of people think because they get disappointed, that I have to do it myself. If I want something done right, I have to do it myself. I can't trust someone else to do something up to my standard. Now, let me tell you, I'll be upfront, that is bullshit. That is BS. And if that's the mindset that's going to prevail, then we're never going to take it to the next level. And this is all about taking it to the next level. Now, who on here wants to make more money? Who wants to make more money? Well, the real question is, who wants to have more sex? Yes, I said it. Who wants to have more sex? Well, there's one thing that you would think would be absolutely impossible to outsource. And what is that? What is the one thing you cannot outsource? Well, dating, right? Dating. Who the hell can outsource? How do you outsource dating? Well, you know what? Making money and dating have both been outsourced, and they are both possible. Read up on it yourself. Look it up. Tim Ferriss has done it. I saw the interview, and I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was funny. And honestly, you could probably even outsource your family time if you wanted to. You'd probably figure out a way to outsource that as well. The thing is, you could outsource almost anything. And if you don't think so, especially in your business, then if you could outsource dating, just imagine all of the activities that you thought you couldn't outsource that you can outsource. Let's jump right into it. Let's dive straight into it and go into these strategies. I'm going to give you real quick an overview. Warning, this is going to be a lot to take in. So let's get right into it. And first, I'm going to go through our internal hiring procedures that we have here at SqueezeMobi. Now, can you guys all see this, or is this too small? Dennis, I knew I would get a reaction from you. Bit too small? All right, let me try to make this a little bigger. This text right here. Let's see. All right. Is that better, Avi? All right. So real quick, let's just run through this. The way when we, and I wanted to document this, Avi wanted to document this because we wanted to outsource outsourcing, especially when it comes to our business. Both aspects of our business, whether it is serving clients or serving you and developing the best mobile products on the market, we wanted to outsource outsourcing. And so we decided that we're going to document every single step of the way. The first thing, obviously, when you're looking, you need to decide, and a lot of people mess up on this. They say, oh yeah, I want to build a team, but then you're gonna say, hey, give me the specific tasks that, let's say, Henson from our team, that Henson is actually going to partake in. I mean, I want him to help me with my business. What do you mean? Like, give me the specific tasks. I mean, I just need help. No. You have to outline, and that's what happens. Sometimes people actually they hire this team, and then they don't have work for them. Actually, that happened to me in my previous jobs when I was actually an employee. People would take me on for this arbitrary role, especially in this one role that I remember when I was working at this bank. And it was actually cool because I didn't have really anything to do. They had no idea what I was really there for, which then allowed me to do a lot of things, a lot of side projects, and probably one of the reasons that I'm here with you today. So don't let people that you bring onto your team do that, because honestly, it's kind of your own fault if you do. So first, deciding on the skills, creating an avatar of that perfect employee. And once you have that, then that allows you to filter through the employees, filter through the skills. And there are two types of skills. One are the technical skills. Those are very, very important, especially when it comes to something like design. And when we go into specifically mobile site design, the technical skills, I mean, someone can be as passionate as they want, but you're going to have to then be patient with them for a couple months, which you don't want to, while they learn it, before they can actually start working for you efficiently. So deciding on those skills, let me tell you one thing about the non-technical, the soft skills. Those are extremely important. And there is one thing that we will not do. Someone and people have freaking blown us away with their portfolios. Their portfolios were amazing. But two things. And they were actually probably better than maybe some of the people that now we have on our team. But two things. Number one, either they were an asshole. There was this sense of entitlement, sense of cockiness. Number two, they weren't passionate. I felt they didn't want the job. And I remember this girl, let's call her Julie. It's not her name, but let's call her Julie. And she was really good. Very, very good. And the first day I had her doing the test task, we hired her for a week first to do a test task. And we said, okay, we're going to pay you $100 for this test task. She's like, oh, great, thank you. And then she started sending me these messages. And she's like, did you send, just let me know when you sent the payment. That already made me like a little wary. But we ended up sending it. And she said, oh, by the way, you sent $96. Next time, just include the PayPal fees. And when I heard that just made me flip. And she was good. She was really freaking good. But when she told me that, the first response within a couple seconds, I don't want to curse here, but I just feel my anger when I got that response. I was basically just like, fuck you, and I fired her right on the spot. Passion is extremely important, and if you do not have a team that is passionate, you won't succeed. You won't succeed. Your business will not grow. Employees will take advantage of you, and you won't take it to the next level. Now, that's the difference between the technical skills and the soft skills. Then what you want to do, you want to source people. You can go through different sources, onlinejobs.ph, Elance, Odesk. When we go through the initial contact, we usually send out and contact people. Not only do we put a listing up, we also contact between 50 and 100 people. And honestly, the one thing you want to remember, don't respond to anyone that doesn't write to the specific email. Have a specific email. Make them jump through hoops. If they can't follow simple directions, they're going to suck. And don't respond to anyone. Always put a keyword in that title, a secret word that you want that title to begin with. Otherwise, they're just responding to hundreds of messages possibly, just trying to get a job because they don't really care about the job. They just want to get paid. And if they don't, you're going to ask for a resume, a cover letter. If they don't apply with that, okay, or a portfolio, they don't send you links, you can't follow simple directions, boom. Follow up, 20 to 40 people. There, you want to test for the technical skills. You want to test also for the personality. You want to have a round one interview. For the first person you hire, it's going to probably be between 10 and 20 round one interviews. You want to learn also yourself how to interview well. The first ones are maybe not going to go as well from your side. You might not know the right questions to ask. And now we have Abigail and Henson do these round one interviews and really screen out, because Avi and I, Neil, we just don't have time for this. We just don't have time for that. And then moving on to the test task, which is going to be actual, because, okay, someone can sound great in an interview, but you need to test them further. 7 to 10 people, candidates, narrowing it down even more through the round 2 interview, and then going into a 1-week trial period in step 8, where you actually going to take on more than one person so you can actually test them real time. This is going to cost you a little bit of money, but it is well worth the investment. Going through the orientation part, going through actual tasks that they will be doing every single day, so you know their quality of work, and you know on a daily basis how's their communication, how's their quality of work, how is their dedication, how is their passion, and you know everything. And only once you do that, then you narrow it down to that top candidate, take them on for a 3-month trial period. Make sure you go in with also an NDA, an employment contract that includes exclusivity. Because a lot of these people, if you don't mention exclusivity, they will do work on the side. But if you do, Filipinos, on the other hand, are extremely honest. And that is one thing that I value very, very much. And for us, we also include different types of equipment. For example, microphone, clock. We're on all these different time zones, including we're in probably 4 different time zones. So we include actually a clock for our team, and then setting up with email accounts, Dropbox, Asana. Let's go into all of this. This is an extensive process, but if you take it one step at a time, it's actually quite easy. It's not too bad. All right, so let's go into it now. What about, and let me see who here has built a mobile site. Give me a yes or not yet. At least one. Give me a yes or a not yet. All right, so I see it's about 50-50. Great. The first 3 mobile sites, if you are one of those not yet, if you are yes, then you're ready to jump right into building a team around your local business. For those who are not, build the first 3, close those first 3 clients. I see a ton of people wanting to jump right in and say, hey, I'm just going to build this whole team. I'm never going to even build a mobile site. I'm never going to generate leads. I'm going to just have my whole team of my 100 employees do this whole process while I just hang out and watch TV and become a couch potato. Build your first 3 mobile sites. Now, when we started outsourcing, our first outsourcer was actually Mobile Monkey. A lot of you may have had experiences with him, and he might have helped you out with a couple things. Mobile Monkey was great. We loved Mobile Monkey, and he delivered quite a bit of very, very quality, very, very quality stuff for us. But where can you find really good quality talent? And by the way, Mobile Monkey's not available anymore. His business has grown so fast that he just can't do Fiverr anymore. He's making way too much money per client now that he just so I know a lot of people say, hey, where did Mobile Monkey disappear? I want that Fiverr gig where I could have had these customizations for $5. And his business just exploded, which I'm really happy for him, because he's been working extremely hard. Now, it's one of the best sources. It's right in front of your nose, the Warrior Forum. There are so many people on the Warrior Forum, and it could be in these Facebook groups. that they might look like they're successful, and you might not even know, but they're dying for work. They know what everything involves. Do they outsource? No, these people don't outsource. They're a lot of the people that are hang around the mobile section. You think maybe they have a lot of clients, but they're actually dying to have work. And if you just contact them, they're gonna be so happy that they have some work. Our favorite source is onlinejobs.ph. Who here has used onlinejobs.ph? And no, we do not have any affiliation. We probably should with John Jonas. I probably should get in touch with the guy. I know Jason. We know Jason Fladlin quite well. He knows him quite well, so maybe we should get in touch with him. But we have no affiliation with John from who created onlinejobs.ph. But I see a lot of people. Some people have, some people haven't. But I personally love onlinejobs.ph. We got Javar from there. We got Vince from there. We got Henson from there as well. And very quality. And actually, Javar does a lot of design work for us, graphics as well, but a whole range of things. He said he hadn't been contacted for like six months. Obviously, showing me right now for 6 months. Extremely quality. I mean, I do not have one complaint about Javar. Nothing but praise for 6 freaking months. So just saying that's a lot, because a lot of people. Why is that? Because Javar was a little bit of a premium worker, and he didn't want the regular 20. He wanted some more. But was it worth it? Definitely. And then a lot of people when they go on onlinejobs.ph, they don't have necessarily the right mindset. And the thing is, we gotta weigh both the pros and cons. Now, let's go and do a quick little demo. I'm going to show you Asana a little later, but here, what are we going to be looking for? All right. So if you go to onlinejobs.ph, and this is, and then we go here to advanced search, then we can look up. Boom. We can look up a ton of people. Now, what skills would we be looking for? Tell me, what skills do you think we would be looking for to build a mobile site? Someone that's going to help us build these mobile sites. We're going to get the clients, but this person is going to help us build the mobile sites. All right, so we're going to look up here. We can look up here. We can look up graphics. For example, Photoshop. Photoshop is going to be quite important. Another thing that we might want to also look up is potentially right here, web page design. And it all depends, but finance management, obviously, admin support, not as important. Now, I'm going to get to this a little later, but there's one thing you want to also keep in mind. Okay? What is your long-term goal with this team? With this team that is going to be developing these mobile sites while you close those clients. Now, let me ask you this. Who's going to be communicating with the client? Who's thought about that? Who's going to be communicating with the client? Now, a lot of people are saying, I am. Now, that's not necessarily true. Why? Because let me tell you this. Let me tell you one thing. Okay? Communicating with clients can become a nightmare. And it's a lot of times when people say, okay, I'm gonna take on this project, they don't factor in the time that you spend with the client. And then they realize they've actually spent a couple hours going back and forth, answering emails, answering phone calls, playing phone tag, blah blah blah. And I'm gonna go into this a little deeper when we start talking about actually outsourcing the outsourcing. However, you do want to screen for English skills as well, especially written ones, because the long-term goal is going to be that you are going to be much more hands-off. All right, so let's do just a quick search here, and we definitely want to put right here on date a month or less. Why? Otherwise, you're going to find all these people with that haven't been on there a lot, and the problem here is we're not going to get that many people. Okay, but we got 2 people. But if we go back, let me actually go into this a little more, because if we look right here, let's go to English skills. For example, what does this "I'm good at it, I'm an expert, I'm the best in the world" mean? If someone in the Philippines, in Western countries, I'm used to this as well, you say, oh, you know something a little bit, you're like, oh, I'm the best in the world at that. I'm the best, I'm an expert. When someone in the Philippines says they're the best in the world, they're going to be freaking awesome. And for example, Avi, what did Javar put for his written skills? He put like I'm good at it, right? But he put I'm good at it. Javar's English, in my opinion, is perfect. So that's something that you also want to take into consideration when you put also these strict criteria, because it is not necessarily going to be. You might have to mess around with these criteria a little bit. But let's see. For example, we have this person right here, okay, and they're available. 30 years old, college graduate, 18,000 pesos a month. 18,000 pesos a month roughly translates into $450 for a full-time 11 years experience. All right. Now, that's just the type of quality. You're going to get college-educated talent that's going to change your business if you manage this talent correctly, and that is going to be something that we're going to get into a little bit more as well. So that's just a quick demo of how you can search on onlinejobs.ph. And what we do is after that, right here, send the template emails to each one of those people, and we have a swipe here. This is, for example, one of our swipes. We have a couple more swipes that we just send out. We update it for the avatar that we're looking for and some different skills as well. A little bit of the job description. Send out, boom, to 20 to 30 people through different sources, including onlinejobs.ph based on different searches, as well as posting something on onlinejobs.ph. And then if that's not enough, then going into maybe Elance, Odesk, Warrior Forum as well to make sure that we exhaust a lot of these searches. Now, there are avenues that people don't think of. For example, Henson, when he was recruiting, when he was trying to find Vince for us, what he did, he himself sent out via Facebook to all of his friends that he is looking for someone that can do technical support for us. Now, that's something that no one really thinks of. They think, okay, onlinejobs.ph, but what about the Philippines is a country of 80 million people, and there is a lot of untapped talent. Think also universities. Think also sources, previous employment of your now Filipino team. They already have worked with these people maybe before. Maybe one of these people that they worked with is a star employee, but they're unsatisfied with their job. So think outside of the box. Don't just think online jobs, Elance, Odesk, especially once you start building a team. They can leverage different sources that people don't generally think about, which is freaking awesome. And we've been doing that, and it's been working fantastically. Now, another thing. Next, what you want to do once you start getting these, once you start sending out these emails, there are three things. And if we go back, I'm going to go over this because this is important, and people don't really think about this too much. And this is honestly one easy way to screen. Okay, number one, make them respond to specific email address. For example, mine was, for example, let's say, technical would be the position plus henson@squeezemobi.com. That's an easy way to get a label on an email that's coming in if you're using Google Apps. All right, so because we were using Google Apps, that's an easy way to do it. What does this do? Your email address is probably going to be buried somewhere in there, which means if they don't read everything, they're not going to respond to potentially to the right email address, which is great, because if they don't, then they can't follow. If they can't follow those simple directions, they're going to be a terrible team member. And you're not looking for an employee. You're looking for someone for your team. You're looking for someone to grow with you, someone that you can later empower. And also, put in a secret word. Say, hey, title your response, SqueezeMobi Rocks. And if you don't use Google Apps, by the way, for then don't worry about it. But that's just something you can use with Google Apps to get a label on incoming email messages. Now, second thing is, and I want to see, can everyone see my, yep, okay. I just had to look at Avi's screen because someone said the webinar was frozen. Second thing is, don't respond to anyone that doesn't put the secret word. We put in SqueezeMobi Rocks, and they need to put that in the title. Why? Because once again, if they don't read that entire message, then they won't respond with the secret word. Screens out very effectively. And someone that doesn't have a resume or a cover letter. For example, for our technical support, we wanted a portfolio and a resume, not necessarily a cover letter. But I remember when Henson responded, he had a very detailed cover letter that just showed his passion, that showed that he truly cared. And that's what blew us away. And that's what I was saying, is that passion is extremely important. Someone that actually gets excited about your company, gets excited. Oh, you're involved in mobile. The mobile revolution is going on. I want to take part in this. This is something that I want to be a part of. I want to be a part of SqueezeMobi. I don't want to be working in a call center. I don't care if I have to take a pay cut. Henson, in order to join our company, he took a 50% pay cut. Now, that's that's something that really meant a lot to me. That really showed that he was committed, and I'm extremely excited about having him on the team, and he has developed extremely well. that passion that we saw, that fire that we saw, and I see that he is going to grow. After that, the follow-up. You want to have also a technical skills follow-up and a personality follow-up. Put in some questions. Just some questions. Some questions like, for example, right here, we have, for example, what are your expectations of this job opportunity? How do you prefer? Daily or weekly communications, reports, and why? How do you prefer? What about, do you like being more creative, exact instructions? Put some things that you know are important for you, and also get a review of their previous job. What didn't you like, and what did you like about that? That's more for the softer side of things, and then for the more technical part, you know, what is your favorite skill? What do you think you're the best at? Why? And what about, is there a part of the job that you think you might need more help, more training on? And by asking these questions, you really get to see, number one, who just writes one-sentence responses, who really put some thought into it. So once again, you see that passion there immediately. Number two, you also see these are leading questions. All right, so you give them a choice, but for example, the question right here in this follow-up swipe, do you prefer to be given exact instructions, or do you want to like figure things out on your own? What's the correct answer? Of course, you want someone that's going to be able to think on their feet, that you don't have to babysit all the time, but you phrase it in a way that you can then figure out what type of person this is going to be and how they are going to be when you're working with them. Because if you hire the incorrect person, your company can be doomed. All right, so that's how you get into that, and then you want to go right into a 30-minute interview. At first, you're going to be doing this yourself, especially when you get the first person. And since most people on this webinar have not hired someone to be a part of their team, you need to first do this yourself. Who else is going to do it for you? You only have one person on the team. What we did when we were looking for telemarketing specialists, we created, for example, right here, an entire file that, number one, all the swipes, and just so everything would be under one file. There would be the swipes, the recruiting process, our round one interview with all our questions, and on top of that, for the case study, we had that test case study, and then we had all of our, and I want to scan this for privacy sake. I don't want to show you the people that we actually interviewed there, but we also then could compare them easily, and immediately after the interview, I would give a yes or a no or a maybe, whether they would be moving on to the next round. Now, as we started outsourcing our outsourcing, so once you hire that first designers to start doing your mobile sites, you're going to probably, once business expands, you're going to need more. You're going to be having so many clients that you can't handle it by yourself with just one designer. Now, if they're quality, if you know that they're doing quality work, why are they going to be better? Because they are going to choose someone, of course, that's going to also do quality work. Otherwise, that's going to make their job harder. And if they have someone underneath them that does a shit job. So they want to hire someone that's quality. Number two, they have more insights in the culture. And we're going to go into this, why Filipinos are actually better at recruiting other Filipinos than you and I are. That's something that people never talk about. People never really talk about that. But the Filipinos, once you find one good Filipino, you have, honestly, you have. Now, I hear Avi messed up something with his computer, and I was hearing myself 3 times over. But it's cool. You have done something that not too many people are able to do. You have leveraged successfully someone that knows the inside, in and out, and also can leverage different types of sources. We're going to get into that a little bit more. What about test tasks? Now, for the people who on here have hired someone, who has given them a test task? Give me a yes or no. That person that they hired. And I see yes, no, 50-50 right now. Now, for designing mobile sites, what type of test task can you give? It's kind of easy, right? It's not too hard. Exactly, Rick. A demo site. Make them create a site. It's pretty simple. Because the thing is, someone can get an A average. They can seem to have all the technical skills necessary, maybe in computer science. Does that mean that they can necessarily design an awesome mobile site? Not necessarily. People may appear to be qualified, and this is where we get disappointed. Oh, look at all these credentials. It's all marketing, guys. We're marketers ourselves. What are potential team members trying to do? People that want to work for you, they're marketing themselves. Of course they're going to talk themselves up. Come on, we're marketers ourselves. We should know this, and we need to really figure out and cut through that bullshit. And do it effectively. Do it quickly. And there's other test tasks. So not only just building a site, if we're going to have this person potentially communicating, Henson had a great English test task. And if I can get him, he had this resource where he would have the potential employees actually take an entire English test, and it would give him a percentile. And he could see, oh, how good is their grammar? And he made them do a WordPress test task that was pretty complicated to see how they can maneuver and figure out WordPress, and how quick of learners they are as well. So a case study, and you can choose 3, you can choose 5 people, depending on how many people you interviewed originally for the test task, and actually pay these potential team members for the test task. Why? I'll give you a horror story, unfortunately. And Henson, one time, he was promised some money, and that's why, unfortunately, we have a bad rep with a lot of Filipinos. Me and you, we have a bad rep. A lot of these Filipinos, unfortunately, the standard of living is much lower in the Philippines, so that money sometimes is worth more to them than it is to us. And yet there are people, some people, I know me and you wouldn't do that, but there are some people that will try to leverage people in the Philippines and then not pay them, then just disappear. Make up some fake profile saying, oh yeah, we have this great company, do some of this work for us, and boom, just disappear, keep on delaying payment. And there have been cases, Henson has experienced that himself, so start building that trust as well. It goes both ways. You need to be able to trust them. They need to be able to trust you. We usually pay, generally, depending on how lengthy the test task is, between $25 and $50. That way, right away, that potential employee, that potential team member knows, okay, this is something that someone I can rely on, and I know I'm going to get paid for the tasks that I perform. Just give them a local business. Easy. Say, hey, you have access to these templates. Here is a taxi company. Now, take their logo, look at their site, do what you need to do, but customize this for their business. And this could be just some random site. This could be actually a client of yours. It's up to you. Depends. If you don't have that client, then just do some random site. Otherwise, use the actual client that you have. And remember, though, make it very difficult. Test for those little things that you otherwise would not test for. Make them do a couple of changes or additions that aren't that easy. Why? You want to see what their level is. Where do they get stuck? At what point in the process do they get stuck and start having difficulties? Because when we then narrow that down and bring the final few candidates in for the final interview, what we do, we always hire team members that are overqualified. And I would much rather pay a premium of even between 50 and even sometimes 100%. I would rather pay double to hire someone that is a superstar, that is a rock star, that is going to elevate your business, that is going to be a future leader, that can manage a team potentially with some, if you actually work closely with that person, then actually hiring someone that is just average, but maybe that doesn't cost that much. That doesn't cost that much, and then you're just cheating yourself and your company as well. Now, what about the test period? Who has hired multiple people at the same time? I'm talking about 2 to 3 people, and you're going to give them the same tasks for a week, basically creating a little bit of a competitive environment. And most people saying no, never. If you really want to be sure, Olivia says sounds fun. And we've done this a couple times. If you really want to be sure that you're getting the right person, because even if they do that test task, there are a couple things, there are some things that don't show up unless that person is working there full-time for a week. For example, communication. How does that person communicate? How does that person deliver as well? Maybe they had someone else do that test task for them. And when it comes down to it, they might not be able to deliver. How do they deliver consistently? How long does it take for them to do that work? With the test task, you don't necessarily know. You're not sure. It might have taken them 1 hour. It might have taken them 5 hours. You don't know. But if you're giving them work, more work and more work and more work, then you really can figure out how that works. And on top of that, the passion. What about the flexibility with time? Those are things that are hard to really pinpoint unless you take on a few people. So what we did was, for one of our positions, we took on, we took on these 2 very sweet ladies. We actually didn't end up hiring either of them, but we took them on for a week. And some things that I would have never seen, some abilities that I thought at that time, honestly, I thought that those weren't that important. This was more of a soft skill job. but it ended up being much more important than I thought it was. And unfortunately, at the end of that trial period, we were not able to take on anyone. Now, on top of that, but that's when the fun just starts. The party just started. You just got all these people on board, or then the party just starts right there. And for us, we have an entire process. You do not have to be this extensive. Eventually, once you start having 2, 3, 4 people on this team, that's when you want to start being this extensive. But for example, for us, we have a whole set of, for example, onboarding videos. We have our SqueezeMobi policy manual as well. As you can see right there, SqueezeMobi headquarters. And we have a ton of stuff in our policy manual, that because we document things very, very thoroughly, and then use also different types of management tools that we want to get our potential team members introduced to as soon as possible. Main communication goes through Skype, but also Dropbox. Dropbox is very important. Why? Because you can have a Dropbox locally on your computer, and you can share a drive with all of your employees. And then once you're ready, you can upgrade to a full business Dropbox that has virtually almost unlimited space. I mean, depending on how much you want to pay for it as well. And this allows you to streamline processes. And on top of that, for tasking out people, this is extremely important. Tasking people out through Asana. Why? Because it is an amazing project management tool. All right, so we have here, I have, for example, Abigail, Henson, Javar, Vince, and all of these different types of projects as well. And I just, whenever I want to task, create some type of task, rather than putting it in Skype, it's much easier. Boom, right here, I'll create a new task. Let's put something here. I'll create a new task, and then I'll put maybe, let's do test task during webinar, and then I could set a due date, boom, tomorrow, and then put some comments here. Hey, Abigail. Hey, Abby, can you do this? Boom. And guess how much Asana is? Guess how much Asana is, everybody? You'll love it. Zip, zero, nothing at all. You get it all for free. Don't you love it? Nothing at all. Dropbox, same thing. It's free until you reach a certain limit. Skype, of course. These are all free resources. That's the amazing thing. In this day and age, you can get a lot of stuff for free until you get to that level where you need to upgrade. Evaluation, process, and progress. I recommend that every single person on here, has daily meetings with their entire team. I love it. Why? Because otherwise, our team does not feel that they're in the loop. We did not have team meetings for a long time, but then we started having team meetings Monday through Friday with the entire team. Why? Because the entire team then started getting in the loop. They felt like they knew what was going on, just all of the updates that we go over. But a thing that most people don't do, when they're on the team meeting, they don't make it interactive. We ask every single person, what are they working on? What are you working on? And every single person from our team speaks during that team meeting. We get feedback. We see then ourselves as well. We could see, oh, hey, Vince is working on this, but he doesn't have that much on his plate. Maybe we can shift responsibilities from Abigail to Vince and even it out a little bit more, because there's a lot going on this week. We have an entire launch, plus we have to do these deliverables for these clients. And then one-on-one weekly meetings with each individual to work also on their special project, a Google-style type of project, so that they can also work on something that's outside the realm of their everyday daily tasks. I want to ask you this. What is the goal for your team member that is going to be designing these mobile sites? What is the goal? A lot of people think that just the goal is, oh, yeah, they're just going to be designing these mobile sites and that's it. They're not going to do anything at all. The goal is empowering. The goal is growing that team member, because you have a whole pie. Let's imagine this pie. Okay? And let's take a slice of that pie. The pie represents everything that you have to do. And you want your team member to take a slice of that pie and not eat just half of it, but take care of that whole slice. And at the beginning, you will have to share, and it's going to take you more time in order to teach them, in order to put all those processes in place. But the goal is empowering them so that, for example, with even client communications, you have limited communications with the clients unless it's necessary, but they can take care of all the technical things. You're the one that is strategizing. You structure the mobile marketing plan. That is where your value add is. Structuring that plan. And we're going to go over that a little bit more with how to exactly audit the business when we go into our mobile site flipper. And then even build a team later on that closes clients as well. That does the lead gen, closes the clients, and then you have the other team that does the delivery, does the follow-up communication, and that's how you build a real business. When you start stepping it up and up and up. Now, the process is, how do you actually do this? And if it is a perfect process, then you're just going to give that team member, your designer, the email address. They're going to email the client the requirements document. What do they need from the client? Whether it's the logo, what type of text do they want in there? They're going to email everything, and because in the beginning, you're going to say, oh, I don't have to document any of this. I'm just going to do it as I go. I urge you, do not adopt that mindset. Why? Because once you document it once you create your templates, boom, it's going to become quicker. You can then, when you get the client, oh, I know exactly. Right here, I'm going to send this out, edit it just a little bit, boom, boom, boom. I send out that email. And then when you get someone onto your team, they can do that for you. You just send them their email address. And you say, hey, you know what to do from here. They send the template. They start communicating with the client. They get the requirements back. They create that mobile site. They design it. And then they send it. Ooh, the client gives some revisions, maybe some potential other changes. They do and implement those changes. And the process is much more streamlined. So it goes from hands-on with you, communicating with the client every single day, and trying to figure it out, being frustrated, to, oh, now I have my team that does this for me. And this is going to mean, and this is where that loop comes around and why I was talking about English skills, you also want to think about that, because you don't want that person that you take onto your team to just be designing those mobile sites and you having to communicate. It's going to be much easier if you just put those two people in touch, if your designer is capable enough. And in the beginning, they're going to obviously copy you on all the communications. You're going to give them, oh, hey, when you talk to clients, please be more careful with this. They might mess up on some things, but that's okay. Load them up also with Skype credit and give them a local number in the US. This is a biggie. People don't usually do this, but it's easy. They're not going to abuse it. And all you have to put up there is like $10. Why? Because Skype communications are 2 cents. It costs 2 cents. That's it. That's it. That's all. Just 2 cents. So load them up with Skype credit. Give them a local number. Now they can call everyone. Boom. They start calling everyone. Yep, per minute. That's it. And if they need to get on the phone with that client, then they can as well. Now, what about a bonus idea? What about something cool? Something cool that you can talk about. All right, so let's sign a client up for $100 to $200 per month recurring for one free change in hosting. A lot of people ask, hey, Enrique, what can I charge for hosting? How much can I charge for hosting? This is one of the most common questions that I get. How much can I charge for hosting? I'm urging you, don't think that way. Think package. Not only hosting, which is obviously super simple, but also throwing in one change per month. What does that do? You frame it in a way, hey, normally I charge $200 per change because I have to go in, I have to review a lot of things, but I'm going to throw in one free change. There's going to be probably things that you're going to want to change on an ongoing basis, and I'm going to throw in hosting as well for $100, and you're just going to pay me each and every month $100. I'll host your site for you as well, and you can communicate with my designer. You have now direct contact with them. Now, how do you rebuild them? And you guys are going to like this. You guys are going to like this. Right here, how do you build them? Boom. You can print your own personal checks. How does this work? You just set up a form where they're going to give their information. They're going to agree to the terms. And you want to talk to your bank before you do this. But you can print a check and then just take it to your bank that has their information and cash that check. So it does not have to be signed. And you want to talk to your bank about this. But basically, once they give you the necessary information, each and every month, at the end of the month, you're going to, for all your clients, let's say you have 10 clients, you're going to print 10 checks because you already got their information. They agreed to the terms via an online form. And boom, you just print out the checks, take them to your bank, and in a few days, you're going to have $100 for each and every single client. All right. Now, check with your bank. I also, and a couple people are asking, why not just electronic transfers? Why not just electronic transfers? Why? Because do you want to be calling? Do you want to become a payments and billing company and calling up 10 different clients? Hey, please make payment by the end of the month. So there's two ways. One way is that. Another way, you can get a merchant account. You can have them sign up for recurring billing as well via your merchant account. That boom, every single month until they cancel, they're going to be billed. Or this is another way that most people actually don't know about, which is really cool. Now, check with your bank. It can vary across banks, but that is an option that you can also do. All right? So, what about outsourcing? How did we come to this? And what happened? The thing is, finding a qualified employee for our technical support. That is what we wanted. Now, Henson is a strong employee. He knows other strong employees. And it's going to be someone that Henson manages. So, is Henson going to be able to find someone that is qualified, but also good to work with? Basically, you want to have your designer design your team for you because he is going to potentially know the people on the inside. Now, tell me, why do you think? I want to get the feedback from all of you guys. Why do you believe that Henson or your designer, your team member, could potentially find someone that's better for the team than you yourself could? Number one, Tom said, knows the culture. They will find somebody they can like and connect with. They know what is needed. You might not be, at that time, you might be doing more high-level stuff. You might not be doing the design yourself. They know the local people. They understand the job better. They want to protect their reputation as well. They have a network of people. All of those are right, and they understand the language, the requirements. They speak the native language. All of those are right. First thing, they can read in between the lines, something we can't. There were things Henson pointed out to us that we just overlooked. We didn't understand. And he said, oh, but in the Filipino culture, that's just how, if someone reacts like that, it means this. Same culture, better skills, better evaluation skills, no language barrier, and actually they're in design. Henson at that time was in support as well, and so they're able to understand the relevant task, whereas Avi was still managing support, but he wasn't there on a daily basis. We became more high level. We weren't in there every single day at that time. And they have access to sources of employees from universities, from former jobs, whether it's on Facebook, all of those sources that gives you an untapped market of 80 million people, which is enormous. Think about 80 million people. How many people are in the U.S.? All right. What is it right now? I would say, I think 250, maybe 300 million. Yeah, 300. Let's say 300, okay? Approximately, plus or minus. So that's approximately 30% of the U.S. That's approximately 30%, which is a ton, which is a huge, divide up the U.S., take out 1/3 of it, are you going to find some qualified people? Now, how many people are on online jobs? PH, maybe a couple thousand, but it's nowhere near the 80 million people that are untapped, that also are extremely quality. How do you structure the tasks? And when we structure the Henson out, you have to be specific. How many people do Avi and I want to interview? All right, we said we want to interview as little as possible, max 3 people. We ended up interviewing 2. The second person that we interviewed, boom, we took him on. It was Vince, because Henson did all the hard work for us. We didn't have to now go through 20 interviews again, because Henson was able to screen. By when do you want this to happen? So give these guidelines, but on the other hand, leave enough room for creativity. Because in the end, who wants someone that's going to be micromanaging them? And the end goal is to empower every single person that is on your team, in order to grow them. So there's one quote. There's this one quote that I'm going to finish this off with. And I really want you to think about this. And the quote goes something like this. If you find an opportunity yourself, you can leverage that and become a millionaire. But if you want to become a billionaire, you have to create opportunities for other people. And that is our goal here at SqueezeMobi, and also for all of you guys, so that you can build successful empires that are not only an opportunity for you, but every single person that you bring on to your team. So with that, I'm going to open it up for a no-holds-barred Q&A and let you shoot at me. Before we do that, I want to say we have, and I will be in touch about the date. I will be in touch about the date, but we are going to have the next webinar of the 3 series webinars, and that is going to be a mind-blowing session. I am extremely pumped about that. When we teach you exactly how to flip mobile sites, that is going to be one of the most massive opportunities that you have seen, and we are going to revolutionize the mobile community. So do not miss that session. It is still to be announced, but I will be in touch. Open up your emails from us and get on that session. If you are already registered, you are already registered for that session. You will get that notification. So right now, shoot at me. I am going to open it up, and I am going to look exactly what everyone wants to know about. All right, so what other questions do you have about outsourcing? Now, Jerome asked, Ken, will you make the presentation and your templates available to us? Jerome, I will definitely make the presentation. The replay will be uploaded to your members area, number 1. Number 2, yeah, we can upload the PowerPoint probably there too. The templates, we cannot, because a lot of those are proprietary. They are internal. There is some confidential information there that we cannot share. If we do, then we will do that in the future, and we will have to go through all those templates and cleanse them for some things, and potentially create something bigger about that. Should you stay local for telemarketing? Chris is asking. Great question. That is an amazing question. Chris, what I recommend is, and I'm assuming that you already have experience with the local market regarding telemarketing. I recommend that you start off with your local businesses, and don't, with telemarketing, and we've done some telemarketing operations, and this is what we learned, is make it as easy as possible. So for the first thing, you want the telemarketer, what's going to be easier, to set an appointment or to close an actual deal? Of course, setting that appointment is going to be appointment easier, and it's going to be easier for you to close if it's local. So have them set appointments for you. If you could either do a Filipino team, you can look up on Craigslist. On Craigslist, there's a lot of telemarketers as well. Some of them say, oh, we guarantee you 20 appointments, things like that, which is pretty cool. So check those sources out. And then also, that's another thing that you wanna think about, is with the telemarketing, you can either close, you can either try to have them close that deal, but you are always going to be better at closing that deal. So what we did with our telemarketing is having the telemarketing firm drive those people to an opt-in page, and I could demo this for you, but I don't have all the stuff prepared. But what we had our telemarketers do is call up the local businesses, and while they were live on the call, they said, "Hey, let me get your name, let me get your email address, and I'm going to sign you up for the webinar right now." And we drove those local businesses to a webinar where then we gave a webinar pitch, and we were able to close businesses rather than having the telemarketers do it, because we know more about our product. Number one, we're much better salespeople. Some of these telemarketers are very good, but you're always, well, I wouldn't say always, but for myself, I think I'm better at closing deals and closing sales than the actual telemarketers. So my sales pitch is going to be much more effective. And there are a couple other reasons that you want to drive them out to this local webinar. Plus, the local webinar is going to give them value. It's going to teach them about mobile, why they need to implement mobile, why if they don't implement mobile, their business honestly is going to explode. And it's going to decline, it's going to decrease, and it's not only the biggest opportunity, but it's something if a local business does not leverage, within a couple years, they're going to see traffic to their business decrease, their client base decrease, especially with restaurants, decrease slowly and slowly and slowly until they're going to start having cash flow problems. So it's not only an opportunity to increase their customers, but it's something that if they do not leverage, they are going to go out of business. And this is something that you're going to be able to communicate much, much better than a telemarketer. So either setting appointments or then the local webinar model. Another thing, so to answer your question, how I would start with local appointment settings, and then when you're ready, when that telemarketing team is also ready, then upgrade them to that local webinar model, and then you can start expanding outside of your area and closing more people on a local webinar model. Now, I wanted to see, and we might do this sometimes, who would be interested in a webinar potentially about telemarketing regarding mobile sites and also that local webinar model. And give me a yes or no, or you could say no. I just want honesty to see. Okay. So a lot of people would be interested in that. Okay. So that's because that's a hot topic, and that's freaking, and then Michael said pre-recorded webinars. Once you start leveraging pre-recorded webinars, I haven't done too many pre-recorded webinars, especially not with you guys, because I just like the interaction. I just love being here. I just love talking with all of you, and it just brings me so much energy that I don't want to do pre-recorded webinars. But it is something you can leverage, because that type of scale, and then having other people, for example, in that chat box, answering questions and interacting, engaging people. All right. And Neil said no pre-recorded webinars. Neil, what I meant is for then you, once you start doing that local webinar model, you can also, if you're expanding so quickly, then automate the process with pre-recorded webinars. All right. Not saying that I'll pre-record a webinar about the local webinar model and then I'll just play it for you. Not for, Mitch said, pre-record not for us, but for closing the clients. All right, let me get some more questions. I do see some that are not completely, and I see Nicole, Avi answered your question. I would jump on your question, but it is not just completely relevant right now. So otherwise, we're going to wrap it up in about 2 minutes. Let me see if anyone else has any questions, maybe about the local webinar model, about outsourcing, about mobile sites, and we can. Someone asked, should I hire part-time or full-time? Okay, that is a great question. Thank you, John. That is a great question, because this is a big dilemma. And a lot of people hire part-time, and this might be a fad that kind of actually Tim Ferriss started a little bit. He's like, I have a ton of people working for me, but I actually don't have anyone working for me. But we are huge advocates of hiring full-time. Why is that? And we even have, for example, when we do that, we make them sign. We make our team members sign this NDA, non-disclosure agreement, as well. We also make them sign a exclusivity contract right here. And why is this? There's two reasons, and you do have to consider there are different types of projects. For example, so for example, when we did the telemarketing, we literally outsourced, and we had a team do it that was not a part of SqueezeMobi. When we do product development, for example, when we maybe need something developed internally, some more templates to use with our clients, and then maybe resell as well, release it as a product. For example, like Mobile Treasure Island, we have to some level, we have that internally done, because that is something that we are using with clients as well. But there are other bigger projects that might not be necessarily our core business, that are one-time projects that we don't want to hire someone internally for if we're not doing it on a daily basis. So those are the types of one-off projects that you want maybe another team outside, an employee that's outside of your business doing it. But otherwise, for example, for a designer, someone that's going to be taking care of your clients, you want that person full-time. Number one, they can really focus on all of their tasks. And number two, they feel more comfortable. They have that security. They don't have to be searching for jobs. They can really dedicate yourself to you. And we, for example, we offer exclusivity for some type of bonus, and also for a severance package. So if our team agrees to exclusivity, they get 2 months of severance pay if they get laid off because either SqueezeMobi is not doing so well in the future. I don't know, economy's not doing so well, suddenly things change in the market. We just give them that type of guarantee. Now, do we foresee that? By no means. That we are prospering quite well and having a good time also with it, but we want to give them that security. That's something that's very important to people in the Philippines. They want to be able to have that, and in return we say, hey, you can't be working with clients right now, which makes sense, because then if they get laid off potentially, then they need to start finding clients. So I definitely recommend 100% full-time people on your team, especially when it comes to the mobile, to someone that's a designer and that's going to be designing your mobile sites for you. Ooh, great question. The 13th month. 13th month. Who knows about the 13th month? Who doesn't? Make sure, and this is something big, all right? In the Philippines, people are used to a 13th month. So this means that around, I think it's the end of November, beginning of December, you pay your team an extra month of salary. That's not customary normally. That you just pay them. It's kind of like a bonus, but it's not really a bonus. Like, it doesn't fluctuate. It's 1 month of salary. Now, what we did, so just remember this, and what I tell our team is, hey, remind us around that time, because we're not in the Philippines. We're not paying ourselves a 13th month. I mean, if you guys want to maybe pay us the 13th month, you're welcome. We'll send that email out and say, hey, you guys can hook us up with a 13th month as well. But obviously, that's not something that's that people are used to in the U.S., for example. So we have our team remind us. But on the other hand, also remember, let's say you hire someone in June and they only work for you half a year. You're not going to give them that entire month's of salary when December comes. They've only been working for you like 5 months, and they're going to be that year working for you only half a year. So you would give them only half of a month's extra salary that 13th month, if that makes sense. All right? All right, well, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to have another great session. Like I said, we have something sizzling. We have something very sizzling. And it's going to be amazing. So everyone, show up for our next webinar, for our next training session. We're going to blow it away. Apologies if we have not been able to get to your question. There have been approximately 400 people on this training session, meaning that there's about, a lot of times, 10 questions within the span of 20 seconds. All right? So thank you so much for coming out. If someone has any other questions, drop them in there, and I'll try to stay on for about an extra few minutes and manually type your answer, okay? So if you guys have other questions. Otherwise, thank you so much for coming out. I am pumped, and I love all of the energy. Hope you guys had a lot of fun, enjoyed, and we got some even better stuff for you right around the corner. We'll be sending out the replay hopefully by tomorrow. All right? Thank you guys, and have a great evening.